All right, hey everybody, Jim here, down in the shop, and we're gonna make a wooden beer mug. Stay tuned. All right, we have just finished board plane. You can see that we're at 0.5, just over half an inch. So file that for later. Prototype, starting with the 1/2 inch thickness, and when we're done, we'll make a judgment if that's a little too thin or a little too thick, and so make some adjustments. All right, see you in a bit. Ooh. Time to change the dust collector. Freaking look at that. All right. Okay. 18 degrees. So that should be correct if my calculations are right. So we'll find out. All right, next question or consideration in the process is how tall do we want to make the mug? And so I went upstairs and grabbed my tankard, my awesome Guinness tankard. So we're just going to start with that. You can see pull it right out of the freezer because it's all frosty. So this guy is 6 inches. Okay, so just for giggles, let's go like 7.5. We'll start making our strips 7.5. Go from there. Give us a little room to router and trim and so on. Okay, 7.5. All right, here's my next consideration. You know, how wide do we want the big boy to be? Okay, so if I'm thinking, let's just start off just for giggles and go, so we're going with 10 pieces around. Okay, so let's just start off with 1 inch a piece. Okay, so that'll be 10 inches, 10 inches around. Okay, so this is a 8.5 by 11 sheet, obviously. Okay, so we're gonna mark 10 inches. Okay, here. Okay, stand by. All right, a couple pieces of tape on there. Roll that together. Okay, so I got this overlapped. Okay, and I don't know if you can see on camera. So I got it overlapped an inch. So if I got 10 things, 10 staves at 1 inch a piece, this is how wide I'm gonna get. And you know what? This seems a little small. I mean, if I'm doing a big honkin' beer mug, that seems, because I'm gonna have a 1/2 inch there. Yeah, this is definitely too small. So we're gonna go bigger than 1 inch a piece. So maybe we'll try 1.25 inches and recreate this 10 times 1.25 inches and see what kind of circumference that we get. Okay, we're back. Okay, this feels right. What I did now is I made the width of each of these 10 staves 1.25 inches. Okay, so that came out to be 12.5 inches in circumference. And so that's basically what I did with this paper. So this is this feels like a mug. That's gonna be good, and that'll take up like 1 inch, you know, on both sides of the inside, because we're using 1/2 inch thick walls. And so this, we're gonna go with that. So 1.25 inches. All right, there it is. Here's our first stave. We went with 8.5 inches just for fun. And so that's what we got for angles, if my calculations are correct. Can you see this? I got a smile on my face. Wanna know why? Because the first big true test of the system, of the angle system, look at that. This is just loosely put together, no clamps on it or nothing. Okay, we'll make another opinion on this when we're done, but we're 1/2 inch thick staves. This will work plenty good for the prototype, but that seems a bit thick. So we're gonna go, I think our next project we'll go 3/8 of an inch and see how that works. All right, next step, we're gonna put a dado probably about 1/4 inch up from the bottom, because I have chosen not to put my bottom flush on the bottom, and that's a total preference thing. If that's the kind of look that you're going for, I'm not. I am going to the bottom is going to be a little bit, or the bottom of the mug is going to be, I'm going to figure about 1/4 inch up from the bottom. All right, there's our bottom. Made it slightly, sanded it like slightly larger than the thing, so then we're going to just start the trial and error process of fitting this into the bottom as we fold all the pieces together and see how it comes out. Well, this is going to be an interesting process. Apparently it's, I mean, I think we didn't sand it down close to the size, so we're way too big, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting process on how to get those all seated in there. All right, I've reduced the size of the bottom twice now, and we still have that much of a gap, so we're gonna keep going. Okay, now I'm kind of lost my pencil mark, so I'm kind of blind now as far as sanding this thing down rounder. So what I'm going to do is grab my protractor again, and I'm just going to draw another little circle just on the inside of the edge, just to make sure I know where I'm going and I don't get lopsided as I'm reducing the size of this thing. So. Well, as you can see, we've got a ways to go yet. You know what? The gap is definitely getting smaller, but I do not mind taking my time on this step, because remember, when you're removing wood size or whatnot, you can always make it smaller, but you can't add back. All right, after our third sanding, that's our gap now. We're getting closer. I'm going to call that 1/2 inch away. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived. Gap has now just disappeared. All right, we are rigging up some hose clamps. This one's like humongous. And then I'm putting another couple together. So I'm just going to do, all the YouTubers like seem to have like 2 clamps, like one kind of towards the top and one towards the bottom. And so that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to use what I got so we don't have to make another trip to the store. All right, we're going to, I mean, I don't mind telling you, this is the part that makes me a little nervous, so we're going to kind of refit these all together and do a really good dry fit and clamp it up and make sure everything all fits together, and I can figure out how to get it lined up correctly, and then we'll take it apart and then do the glue up. All right, peeps, here goes nothing. Well, there we are. We're glued. All right, and we just, as you saw there, we got the ends all squared up nice, top and bottom. right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now router time. All right, bottom got the burn marks out. This is the bottom. I think it's looking pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. All right, here goes nothing. All right, here's the top. Routed. Burn marks are all sanded off. All right, a couple of quick things as we're figuring stuff out on our prototype. This thing seems very tall to me, and it is. I want to have at least a pint and then another maybe inch on a beer. So I poured a pint in here, 2 cups, and the water level came up to about here on this thing. So then I added another inch, and I think I'm going to cut it off here. So that would give me enough volume. But then I got this handle that I made out that seems pretty big, and if I cut it at that mark, my handle's going to be right on the top, or even kind of come out. So I'll probably actually end up cutting it off, like taking about a good inch off and bringing it off about right there. So okay. Okay, here's what I got going right at the moment here. I made kind of 3 tools. Okay, I had 3 extra staves, and I glued a piece of 80 grit, 120 grit, and then 220 grit onto each of these things. And the reason I made these things is, and this is again, I don't know what I'm doing. So there's glue, you can't really see it here, but there's a fair amount of glue on the inside of the mug where the joints are. Really, as when you glue the thing up, I mean, extremely difficult to get the glue out of there. So I got most of it out of there. So buckle up, baby, because this is going to take a while. Wow, this may go better than I thought. Getting hot. You probably can't see that on the camera, but yeah, not all the glue is out of there by any means, but man, I'm calling that a worthwhile 10-minute or less endeavor. That is greatly improved, so I'm guessing the stain's gonna sit much better than had I not got that out of there like that. So all right, I got a 1x10 here, whatever it is. So we're gonna lay Mr. Rough handle template over the board and do a little cutting with my skill saw that I got back from Miriam this morning. All right, here we are. All right, I got a router blade on my table, so we're going to take a stab at kind of rounding off all the edges and stuff here and see how that goes. Plug it in. We have got a handle, and I am digging it. This is the top. I got my little thumb button there. Grab it with, and we got it through the router. I rounded off the inside edges up and down, and then I put another little tiny quarter round on there to get all of these edges, so it's just, I hope you can see it. It's just beautifully round. This is freaking awesome. Of course, we got to touch it up, get rid of some of the lines, but we have got our shaped handle, baby. Thrilled. That method will be repeated every job. Look at the honey. Just look at the honey. Oh, I don't have it glued up yet. But look at that! Doggone it! Freaking fan-freaking-tastic. Alright, there it is. It's glued. The handle is glued. Everything appears to be square. Alright, we're at a joyous moment. This has been gluing up for like 6 hours, so I'm sure we're good. So here we go, taking the clamps off. Look at that. Would you just look at that? For a prototype, baby. I'm digging it. Alright, we got a winner. This is cedar, so nothing's fancy, just kind of a wood color, just kind of a golden wood color. You can see how that darkens the pine. We stained it up with that PPG cedar, just kind of a pretty tame, wood color, nice golden brown finish to that puppy. Oh, I am so freaking thrilled. So to note so far that we're learning, I am very glad I made those tools and sanded out the glue on the inside, because you can definitely tell. I got rid of most of it, and yeah, I'm glad I did. So when we do the real one out of oak or whatnot, we're definitely going to have to work that well, get that stuff out of the inside. All right, we just clear coated it. I'm using this amazing clear cast stuff. So this is food safe. I bought some other stuff from Menards that was not food safe, that I spent 30 bucks for that. I researched and researched and researched, and I think any epoxy, technically, when it dries and cures properly, is like an inert plastic, is what I've read. But the stuff I bought at Menards is not, even on their product website, does not say it's food safe. So I went with this stuff, and I got this stuff this is food safe, at Jo-Ann Fabric. It was 20 bucks, and these are 2 8-ounce bottles, okay? So then I go to ring it up, and they had some kind of coupon code thing, and I paid like 12 bucks for it. So so for 12 bucks, well, we'll say 13, it was 12 something, we'll say 13. For 13 bucks, I used probably an ounce of that stuff. This is an 8-ounce. So I'm probably gonna get, I'm gonna say conservatively 7 mugs clear coated for 12 bucks. So that's, what's that, 2 bucks? Less than 2 bucks per clear coat. So we're at a total material cost of a mug, 6 bucks maybe, 5 bucks maybe less than 5 bucks. All right, so here is the finished product.